Hello, and welcome back to the Central City Rewatch. This week, we're diving in to episode 13 of season 1. Before we do that, give me your thoughts on season 1 so far in the comments section below. And as always, thank you so much for being here. And with that, let's get into today's review. If this episode's Flash proved anything, it's that not every episode has to revolve around a villain menacing Central City. Sometimes Barry's fellow heroes are enough of a challenge in their own right. The Nuclear Man was the big payoff after weeks of buildup involving Ronnie Raymond and Professor Stein. For the most part, it didn't disappoint. This was by far Robbie Amell's meatiest role in the show to date. We saw more of Ronnie as a scraggly, superpowered hobo, but we also saw him clean up and come to his senses. The big twist, of course, was that while it may have been Ronnie's body strutting about Central City, it was actually Stein's mind steering the ship. Amell deserves plenty of credit for altering his performance to reflect that fact. This was a far different performance from the bits and pieces we've been treated to before. Amell successfully conveyed the idea that the brain of an aging, stately scientist was inside that handsome, well-chiseled shell. That dynamic led to some nice, dramatic scenes throughout the episode as both Caitlin and Mrs. Stein came to terms with this bizarre turn of events. Obviously, Caitlin struggled, had more emotional resonance given her reoccurring role with the show, but in either case, the tragedy of Firestorm was handled very well. The final goodbye between Ronnie, Stein, and Caitlin was especially gripping. It was also interesting to see the show wrap on a cliffhanger for a change. A little abrupt, but cool nonetheless. While this episode definitely downplayed the action and superhero side of things, Barry's brief clashes with Firestorm still offered some welcome spectacle to offset the drama. Firestorm is still very much in his Human Torch phase right now. Fire and flight are the name of the game. I believe one character even made a flame-on joke at one point. It's a little straightforward considering what Firestorm's transmutational abilities are capable, but no doubt the show will get to that point. For now, seeing a flaming Ronnie Raymond dragging a dumbstruck Barry hundreds of feet into the air was a pretty cool sight. Perhaps wanting to ensure that this episode didn't become too Firestorm-focused, the writers also paid a significant amount of attention to Barry's new romance with Linda Park. I'm glad to see Linda enter the mix, if only to take some of the emphasis off of the Barry, Iris, Eddie love triangle for a while. We've yet to see Linda fleshed out to any real degree. It is not entirely clear what she sees in the dorky, perpetually late Barry in the first place. Still, that scene of Barry devouring a red-hot pepper was cute and worked to cement their bond a bit more. Unfortunately, the emphasis on the Barry-Iris relationship was not reduced by any means. I enjoy the dynamic Grant Gustin and Candace Patton built up this season. It's more a problem of how bipolar the relationship has been of late. One week they're not speaking, the next they're best friends again. Now Barry is struggling to move past his all-consuming crush, and Iris is suddenly having second thoughts. It's becoming a little high schooly for my taste. Luckily, the other subplot this week was more entertaining, as we saw Joe and Cisco become the new dynamic duo of Central City. Early on, it was simply fun to watch the two try to go about their business while the middle-aged divorcee, who now resides in the old Allen house, made googly eyes at Joe. But it wasn't long before Cisco cracked the case wide open and a key revelation was made about the speedsters who were present for Nora Allen's murder. The idea that a mirror could have recorded snapshots of that evening was a little out there, but clever. The way those photos were visualized in 3D was pretty nifty too. This subplot did dredge up one of my concerns from early on in the season. It seems this red blur, yellow blur conundrum is drawing heavily from the comic book Flash Rebirth to the point where there's really no mystery involved if you read that story. I'm hoping the writers have a few curveballs in the works, but even if not, there's plenty else about this show that does rigidly adhere to the comics. In any case, this subplot was more interesting in how Joe planted seeds of doubt in Cisco's mind about Wells. We know Joe is right to question the motives of this seemingly benevolent scientist. Cisco may well be the first of the Star Labs crew to wrestle with the truth. How will he reconcile the fact that the man who changed his life and became a father figure to him is also a time-traveling schemer and an evil speedster? Just like last week, it's great to see Cisco being given such a prominent role in the show. The Flash seems far better at making use of its entire supporting cast than Arrow. After a hefty amount of build-up, Flash fans were treated to a solid debut for Firestorm this week. This episode successfully conveyed the tragedy that comes from being two minds trapped in one nuclear-powered body. Meanwhile, the emphasis on Barry and Cisco plotlines ensured that this still felt like an episode of The Flash and not potential spin-off fodder. There were some weak points, particularly when it came to the increasingly tired Barry Iris drama, but nothing to ruin the fun this week. So with that, let me know your thoughts on this episode in the comment section below. And of course, if you want to support the channel, you can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/cinemagold. As always, this episode is sponsored by Paramount Plus. You can check them out in the link description. Sign up today. And with that, thank you so much for watching and listening. We will see you next time. Take care.